Welcome to a Now Explained Rough Cut video. This video is part of our manual bookkeeping series. You can find related videos on our YouTube channel or search the internet for a Now Explained Rough Cut. So now, let's get explaining. Using the Empress'system with petty cash. What is the Impress'system? What you need to be familiar with: source documents, petty cash voucher, petty cash daybook. When do you use a petty cash system in bookkeeping? A petty cash system should be used for small, petty value purchases such as milk and biscuits for the canteen. It can be used to repay back an employee a small expense they incurred, such as a book or a magazine they purchased on behalf of the business. The employee gets no money unless that employee presents a valid invoice or till receipt. Walking around with cash in your pocket and handing out cash to staff when they buy coffee, tea or milk is an undocumented petty cash system. In this undocumented system, you don't remember what you paid money out for, and there is no record of what the cash in your pocket was paid out for. Whether an invoice is paid for by cheque, EFT or cash, the same rules apply. An invoice must be received to match the amount paid out in petty cash. For larger and regular expenses, an employee should use an expense claim form. These expenses on the expense claim form would not be paid from petty cash, but by cheque or electronic transfer to the employee's bank account. To allow the recording of petty cash expenses, a bookkeeper should have petty cash dockets. The petty cash dockets are used by an employee to make a claim for the expense they have incurred. A petty cash daybook, a big red book, to record each of the petty cash dockets. A stapler to staple the petty cash voucher to the invoice being claimed for. Pen to write up the petty cash dockets and the petty cash daybook. A metal petty cash box with a key to keep the petty cash secure. The petty cash daybook is used to record the details and cost of each petty cash docket. It is usual, but not necessary, to record petty cash dockets by month. This is to match the monthly account system running in the business. No invoice, no money. Cash should not be handed over to an employee unless a petty cash docket is completed and an invoice or receipt describing the expense incurred is provided by the employee. Just because these are small expenses does not remove the need to prove what an expense was for. This all seems very logical and simple, but petty cash is frequently abused and used to steal money from a business. Because the amounts used in petty cash appear small, little care is given to its management. The Impress'system is a top-up system. What you pay out during the month is the amount you get back to bring you back to the original starting amount. It comes with built-in audit controls and fraud reduction. The dangers of not using the Impress'system. In many businesses, you ask for a €200 cheque for petty cash and you will be given it without question. No proof of what was spent previously is asked for. This puts the person in charge of the petty cash in a position that could allow them to abuse the petty cash and take it for their own use. In many businesses, a trusted person, the bookkeeper or accountant, is put in charge of petty cash. This person can also have the ability to enter the payment into the account system. This means they can post a cheque to an expense of their choice and bury it, as in hide, the petty cash cheque, and no one will ever know where the money really went. Also, many businesses, a receptionist, secretary or non-accounting person is given the responsibility of managing the petty cash. In this role, this person may discover that whatever they ask for a petty cash cheque, they are given without question. So every month, they can ask for a cheque of, let's say, €300, and after 6 months, this comes to €1,800 worth of cheques. If real petty cash expenses are only €400 for these 6 months, they can pocket the balance of €1,400. They leave the business, and unless someone investigates the petty cash, they will have stolen €1,400 from the business. It is very hard to prove they did this, and even harder to get the money back. Unfortunately, the stealing of petty cash is done on a large scale with cheque value amounts growing every month, and it's not uncommon for tens of thousands of euro, yes that's 4 zeros, to be stolen. The petty cash process is a great way of introducing a non-bookkeeping or accounting person to the world of bookkeeping. If proper training is provided, the employee will understand the importance of documentation, matching an invoice to every payment, traceability, proving and showing where the cash was spent, understanding VAT, by examining invoices and looking for reclaimable VAT. Daybooks, understanding how daybooks work and how they link to the overall account system. Reconciling, checking each day, week, month that the money left in the petty cash box is correct. Impress'system, how the Empress'system will help them manage and reconcile the petty cash that they are now responsible for. So how do we reduce this threat to the petty cash? Train the staff member in how to properly manage the petty cash daybook. Then, and the most important factor, is to run your petty cash using the Impress'system. The Impress'system is a method of replenishing your petty cash with only the amount of money you spent in that month. If €134.95 was paid out in petty cash expenses in a month, a petty cash cheque for €134.95 is written and cashed. Not €130, not €140, but €134.95 exactly, no more, no less. The cash is then placed in the petty cash box. Using the Impress'system, petty cash is only replenished for what was spent. It is a top-up system. You would never have more than the initial cash float issued. The person issuing the cheque must see the petty cash book to ensure that the petty cash cheque being written is the amount that was spent as per the petty cash book for the month in question. Here is an example. We currently have no petty cash system, so we want to start one. We purchase a petty cash box and an analysis daybook, a big red book, to record the petty cash dockets. A cheque for €50 is written and cashed. The €50 is placed in the petty cash box. The person in charge of the petty cash box completes a petty cash voucher to acknowledge receipt of the €50 and sticks the voucher securely to the inside of the petty cash daybook. The €50 is now the petty cash float. During the month, a total of €21.51 is claimed using the petty cash vouchers and paid out of the petty cash box. This leaves €28.50 in the petty cash box. The petty cash book has been totaled and the amount of €21.50 is shown as the amount spent in the month. The person in charge of the petty cash makes requests for petty cash of €21.50 to the person who will then issue a cheque that will replenish or bring back up the petty cash float to €50. The person signing the cheque, will examine the petty cash book to confirm the amount requested and will write the cheque. Then the person in charge of the petty cash will get the cheque cashed and the amount of €21.50 will then be placed in the petty cash box, bringing the petty cash float back up to €50. What the system is doing is ensuring that only what is spent is paid back, and it limits the amount of petty cash fraud to €50 per month. It is still possible for the person in charge of petty cash to present false petty cash claims and take money from the petty cash float, so it still requires that someone else does check every month that genuine expenses are being claimed for. While the Impress'system does not eliminate fraud, it reduces it greatly and limits the loss, if any, to €50. The level of supervision required for an Impress'system is low, as the Impress'system has built-in audit checks. It limits how much cash can be spent and can set the maximum in a month of how much is spent on petty cash. If there is a requirement for more than €50 in a month, this is flagged and an investigation as to why more petty cash is required can be started. As a cheque is only issued once a month, this also controls spending. If €50 is insufficient to meet the petty cash needs of a business, a new upper limit, say €100, could be set by adding €50 to the next request for petty cash and setting €100 as the new petty cash float from now on. If there were no Impress'system, cheques can be issued at any time of the month for small amounts, which in turn add up to large amounts. And because it happens slowly, the stealing of the petty cash may go unnoticed. The Impress'system requires only one simple rule. You only get back in petty cash what you spent in the month. It also has the advantage of forcing the petty cash daybook to be kept up to date, as a claim for a cheque to top up the petty cash float cannot be made unless the amount spent is known and is recorded in the petty cash book. While the petty cash system does not have to use a petty cash book, it can be easier to train a non-accountant or bookkeeper to manage the petty cash system, as the level of bookkeeping skill required is minimal. Also, as there can be many small expense claims, Processing all this as individual transactions in a computerized account system is very time consuming, and a manually completed petty cash daybook is more flexible and easier to be maintained. If you use a manual bookkeeping system with an analysis book, you can have a running total in your petty cash analysis book, so that as you record a petty cash voucher in your daybook, you can change the running total. While you can also do this in a computerized account system, a computerized account system requires a person to be logged into the account system, and in order to keep the computer system up to date, you would need to be entering petty cash expenses as they happened, and this would not be very time efficient. This has been an introduction to using the Impress'system with the petty cash daybook. Using the Impress'system with a manual, a handwritten petty cash system daybook is an easy, secure and efficient way to manage petty cash. It can reduce fraud, it has built-in audit checks for accuracy, it allows the work to be delegated to non-bookkeeping staff, and it is easy for anyone to use. For more information, go to nowexplained.com. Thank you for watching.